Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Nitro Racing League here on NASCAR Heat 5. It has been a hot minute, but we are back here with the Nitro Racing League here on the Xbox One. So very excited to bring this back to you guys here in Texas Motor Speedway. Basically, why I've been gone on here is we had some off weeks, but we also had one race where I was in, but I completely lost my footage, and then there was one race that I did not participate in. So it's been a little bit, but we are back here at Texas Motor Speedway here, where I actually had to start at the back of the field because I missed qualifying to get a video uploaded, but now I was able to sneak into the race here. There was a bit of a delay to wait for me, so I really appreciated everybody waiting around. Right at the beginning, there was a little bit of lag, but it figured itself out very quickly. But we had 52 laps here in stage one. Of course, now 3 stages in this race. Keep in mind the choose cone rule is also a thing now here in the Nitro League. So if you forgot about that, keep in mind that is a thing, and it is game changing at times. Now as we come through, heading down this back straightaway, just trying to make my way forwards here after starting in the back. Right now is the 41 of Christian, who is out front. Now as you might hopefully remember some of the names now as we were up the inside of Jay through turns 3 and out of turns 4. So we move up into P11. Keep in mind in Nitro, only the top 5 drivers get points in stage 1 and stage 2. Now as we come through, passing the 14 car as we came through out of turns 4. So we now moved ourselves into the top 10. We ran down RJ here in P9. We would pass him into turns 3. So just casually moving our way up the field. And one thing that has been changed with one of the recent patches in NASCAR Heat 5 is there is now a draft slider online, so we completely turned the draft off for this race. But you saw right there was a big moment with Justin in the one car. He had a leg spike, and then I had contact with RJ there as we came through out of turns 4, and that would obviously cause a big incident behind, and it takes 2 cars to at least go crashing together to bring out a caution, and that did happen here. So we ended up getting a caution. We came into the pit lane for 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires, and I decided at the choose cone to go to the outside, and I go from P7 to P2 with the choose cone rule. So we come through, or sorry, up to P4 on row number 2 now here with the choose cone rule. So we get back going here as we dive down into turns 1. Manual restarts, of course, here in the Nitro League as well, as we come through turns 1 and out of turns 2. So Christian still up front, Andrew up there in that second position. But like I was mentioning, as that issue happened with Justin, there is no draft here at Texas. It is on the lowest setting possible, so it's all down to just driver at this point now as we come through turns 3 and out of turns 4 up the inside of Durham now as we head down side by side here on the front straightaway, coming through to already lap 20 there, and we were moving to P3 past them and just kind of settle in here. So it was Christian, Andrew, and myself, P1 through P3, as we just kind of continued to settle in this third spot now on lap 33. 20 laps to go here in stage 1 as we come through now towards the end of lap 33. Out of turns 4, get a little bit loose there when we smack the outside while on the exit of turns 4 as we come down the front stretch, and there's a big hiccup from myself. Thankfully, we actually don't lose any positions from it, but now Andrew would put the attack on Christian in turns 1. He would pass Christian for the lead, and now I was, of course, trying to run them back down, but then Christian on lap 37, he comes into the pit lane. A bunch of other drivers were starting to come through and do their pit cycle. So Andrew comes in on lap 38. I stay out another lap here, and on the end of lap 39, I do finally come in here to make a pit stop now as we come through out of turns 4, coming into the pit lane, 45 miles per hour. I was a little bit conservative going into there, but I didn't really want to risk anything at this point. So we put 4 tires on the car, 2 cans of fuel in it, and we would get going. But you saw Christian, he was already long gone. Andrew actually got a speeding penalty when he came into the pit lane, so he was completely messed over as well as come through turns 1 and 2. So down to P5, trying to enter the track, but there you see the cars going by, the 48 of Tyler. Then here comes our teammate and team owner of Matt there as we come through out of turns 2. So now we drop down all the way to 8th place, but with the fresh tire advantage, we would run them down with absolutely no problem. We pass Matt as we come through out of turns 4, now up into P7, right behind Tyler here, going for P6 there as he goes low. I go low, and there's actually some contact made there, as I think that was really just a miscommunication of where both of us wanted to go. Now as we come through turns 1 and 2, the 24 car of Combat was actually out front at this point, but he would give up the lead after he had to come still into the pit lane now as we were on the outside of the 4 of Durham as we came through out of turns 4. So we move up now into P5 as we exit turns 4. We then would run down Master Killer as well as even 4 there in the 19 car, and we pass the 19, our teammate, and move up into P3, and then get to the back of the 34 with just 2 to go now. In stage 2, then he has a leg spike in the worst possible place, and that smashes me into the inside wall. The 19 goes by, coming to the white flag as well. in stage 1, and we drop down to P5, but you see the momentum here from the 48 as well as the 88 of Eddie is going to come through on my outside, so the Hendrick duo right there is going to pass us as we exit turns 4 and drop now down into the 7th position as we come through to start the final lap here in stage 1. The 4 car just behind there of Durham with no draft, unfortunately for him, now as we dive down into turns 1. I'm used to saying, okay, they got the draft, they're going to be able to get a run. Unfortunately, that can't quite happen at this point now as we come through out of turns 2. Eddie gets up the inside of Tyler as we go down the back straightaway for the final lap here in stage 1 as we dive down into turns 3. We're trying to get to the inside of Tyler. We do. That was a little bit aggressive and ambitious from myself, but we come through out of turns 4, and we're going to be able to make the move and get up into P6 as we come through the grass there at the line, but no stage points for us as we do come up one spot short of a stage points paying position. So P6 here in stage 1 as Christian dominated stage 1, so he gets another playoff point. We do have that win earlier in the season, keep in mind, from Atlanta, so we are already locked in the playoffs. But we would come into the pit lane for 2 cans of fuel as well as 4 tires and get ready to go green for stage 2. We would line up here just behind our teammates of the 19 and the 20 of even 4 as well as Matt as we get back underway for the start of the second stage here on the outside of Eddie. Now 49 laps here in the second stage, so what, about 3 laps less or so than that first stage was. I think that stage 1 was 52 laps if I remember correctly. But you see Christian, actually I get hit in the left side there from the 48, but Christian, he moved up the track and left the door open now to just give away the lead as he went down towards turns 3. So now our teammates were up there in the mix with Karma as well as even 4 as we come through out of turn 4. So it was actually the 34 car who had taken the lead out of that whole mess, and Christian, he would fall all the way down into the 5th position as I would still be out here in P6 now on lap 3 as we go down this backstretch. Durham just behind us there as we dive down now on lap 5 into turns 1. Unfortunately, Matt gets put up on the outside as well as that 34 is up high as we look to the inside of Matt there, nearly making contact as we go down the backstretch with him, but we're going to be able to pass our teammate there to move up into the 5th position. And then Eddie would actually get put on the outside by the 41 of Christian, so I would come through out of turns 2 down this backstretch trying to pounce on that opportunity as well to get up to that inside of Eddie so we can move up another spot into P4s, because if you're on that second lane here on even tires, you're in such a disadvantage now as we come through out of turns 4. So now that 19 actually leading the way down the front stretch as we came through to start lap 9 of 49 here in stage 2, side by side with Eddie as we dive down into turns 1. He was not going to give up the fight easily now as we come through side by side with him through the center of the corner, and I was just trying my best to get clear as we go down this backstretch. He was doing a really good job actually holding his place on that second lane as we dive down into turn 3. He was driving it way deeper into the corner, you can see right there, than I was, and that actually helped me right here as I was able to get to the exit and clear him on the exit of turns 4. So now we take over the 4th position down the front stretch. We come through all the way to lap 14 of 49 now. So running P4, we would run down the 34 as we went down into turn 3. He told me to just drive right on by. He actually gave me the position as we came through out of turns 4, now up into P3, but then I actually lose the back end of the car and go through the grass here as we come through the front straightaway. So now the position he just gave me goes to waste, because now I drop outside of the top 5 all the way down into P7 there just behind Eddie. Thankfully, we kept it all straight and no crashes came out of that now as we came through out of turns 4. The 34, he had kind of continued to fade down the order a little bit. He had now dropped down to P6, and I was trying to run him back down here as we came through, though on lap 24 we had got back to him, and once again he just let me go, and I was a little bit concerned that last time he let me go we got loose, but thankfully we did not go spinning through the grass this time. So we ran down Karma and now down the front straightaway on lap 26. We would pass him and move back up into a stage points paying position here, and as we came through now on at lap 26 out of turns 4, the leaders were starting to come into the pit lane, but then they actually had a crash between Andrew, Christian, as well as our teammate of even 4 in the 19. So the caution actually is going to come out here in Texas. All of a sudden, we're up here in the 3rd position. So of course we are going to be coming to the pit lane though, and we're going to put 2 cans of fuel in, 4 tires. It wasn't a whole lot of an explanation. Apparently even didn't kind of realize or something that Christian was pitting, and then he proceeded to just drive into the back of Christian and cause the crash. I'm not 100% sure, but either way there was definitely some type of miscommunication. But I chose the bottom this time here with 21 laps to go here for the choose cone, and unfortunately that put us all the way down here in P7 for the restart. 20 laps to go here in Texas as we dive down towards turns 1. So now the 48 of Tyler was out front. Our teammate of Matt though was leading that outside lane through turns 1 and out of turns 2 as we go down this backstretch just behind Combat there in the 24. Andrew just behind us now. He was a part of that incident, of course, as well as Christian. And then the 19 of Even actually got put in the involvement of being a part of the caution, though, as it seemed like he was actually continued to keep the car going, which was weird. Now let's go down this front straightaway. So he was back there as well, which obviously helps us. And we get to the inside of Durham here down the back straightaway on lap 32. And we're trying to move now up into P6 as Karma, he had actually taken the lead at this point. So our teammate of Matt finally leading here as we come through at a turns 4, passing Durham, and then trying to put the pressure on the 24 here as we dive down into turns 3. But then we actually got another caution for a crash that happened at the back of the field. So once again, though, we do come into the pit lane. You see some drivers coming in, some drivers staying out. Majority stay out. So we would be all the way down here in P12 for the restart. I chose the outside, or sorry, P10 as we got going there. So I chose the outside. Did not quite work because you can see a lot of drivers actually chose the outside for this restart as we dive down into turns 1. A little bit of contact there with the 34, but just over 10 laps to go at this point here on the stage. Andrew going 3 wide up the inside. He actually hits the 34, then the 34 hits Jay, and Jay gets put in the wall. Jay was having a rough night to say the least now, so that was very unfortunate for him, but we settled back in on the inside lane through turns 1 and 2 now on lap 38, and just starting to try and once again move our way back forwards now, as it was the 41 of Christian battling it out with Matt for a little bit, but now Matt would actually start to fall down the order. Here we come through now on lap 40 of 49 in the stage. Matt gets taken 3 wide there as we come through out of turns 2. I decide we need to be aggressive and hop on the opportunity, so I'm just going to go through as well and climb up inside now the top 5 as we go down into turns 3. Got to be aggressive in these races, and sure enough, I was just doing my best to just keep it clean, but aggressive at the same time, and sure enough, we would be able to get to the inside of the 88 again of Eddie, and we would pass him for P4, then get to the inside there of the 14, but he kind of chopped our nose there. I just don't think he knew I was there, and unfortunately that hurt us because now Andrew's just going to drive right on by on the outside there now as we dive down towards turns 1. So back into the 5th position here, but we would just kind of continue to follow Andrew, and then Christian got actually put on the outside, so that would allow me to get back up into 4th place. Right now it was Justin actually in the 1 car leading the way. He got his first ever Nitro win this season in Daytona now at the start of the season now as we would move up into P3 with 2 laps to go there past the 14 car. We come through now to start the final lap. You can see Justin being very defensive over Andrew, trying to hang on for a stage 2 victory as we dive down into turns 1. Andrew looks like he's going to get a very good exit here out of turns 2. Them battling obviously is bringing me closer and closer, but we're not close enough to do anything here. So they're going to be side by side down the back straightaway towards turn 3, and now that pretty much leaves the door open for Andrew because Justin, he's on O tires as we come through turn 3, close to them actually as we exit turns 4, and now there's going to be a little bit of contact there between the 9 and the 1. The 1 car goes crashing. Andrew wins stage 2. We come through to cross the line just behind him there in that 2nd position. So a very solid 2nd stage for us. Very unfortunate how it ended right there for Justin there after contact with the 9, but just one of those racing deals as you come through battling for a stage win. So, of course, no choose cone rule between stages because we cannot have a manual restart. So, of course, we would just restart P2 here after putting 2 cans of fuel in the car as well as 4 fresh tires. So we dive down into turns 1. So now the race is on here. The 3rd and final stage is underway here in Texas. 50 laps remain as we come through out of turn 2 there. The 14 just behind. Even in that 19 car, he was actually be able to move up into P3 behind myself and Andrew. We cut through to lap 113. 55 laps to go at this point as we dive down into turns 1. I really couldn't find an opportunity because you can't pass on the outside, and I felt like I didn't really need to be overly aggressive on Andrew and just try and force him to move up the inside when we still had over 50 laps to go at this point, but we actually ended up getting a caution again for a wreck at the back of the field. So of course we came to the pit lane, and unfortunately we enter P2 and exit P4. So a complete disaster on the pit lane. The top 3 all choose the bottom though. I choose the top. I said, okay, I mean, why not? So we're back up here into P2 all of a sudden for the restart, and we get a pretty good launch off the restart now. And like I said, this choose cone rule is a game changer because it has moved us up so many positions here and there. I mean, we were going to be like P12 at one point in this race, and we were able to move up into like 6th place or 7th place or something like that with the choose cone rule. It's so helpful to have it now as we come through, and usually it gives us a gain now the way we are able to do it. Now as they actually go crashing behind there, Matt's involved, a bunch of cars involved, and that's going to actually bring out another caution here, and we would just get right back into the restart because there is a rule that if you don't complete a whole lap after a restart without a crash, then we cannot come to the pit lane or anything. So I actually had a terrible restart though as we dive down into turns 1, and that's going to give the 14 a free pass as we come through the exit of turn 2, and then the 19 of even gets to my inside as we exit the corner down the backstretch. So a terrible restart unfortunately drops me down to about P4 as we come through. Once again they go crashing behind us now on lap 122 into turns 1, and well, you guessed it, that's going to once again end up being a caution as we come through out of turns 2. So we would of course get ready to come into the pit lane there as we finally start slowing down the back straightaway. So we were at P5 when that came out. We came into the pit lane, and once again the top 4 choose the bottom, and I said, okay, I'm just going to casually move up into P2 and get ready for a restart. So we were P5 at the time of choosing our lane. We're going to see how it helps here now as we come through, back underway, 43 laps to go here at Texas Motor Speedway now as we dive down towards turns 1 to 14 up my inside. If we can get anything better than P5 here to settle in, then that restart, or that choice to go to the outside was definitely a positive one as we go down side by side with the 14 down this backstretch behind us. It was the 88 and the 48 battling it out for that 4th position as we dive down into turns 3 there, moving up the track just a little bit now as we come through though out of turns 4, and there's going to be our opportunity to settle into P3. So choosing the outside really worked, but unfortunately I actually gave the opportunity to the 88 to get to my inside, so we ended up drifting down all the way to P5 after even was able to pass me as well. And then there was some lag there out of turns 2 and a huge crash down the back straightaway. Now someone went flipping as I had no time to react to that, and it just happened out of nowhere, and all of a sudden I'm down here in P13 here on lap 127. Once again though, I choose the outside. We're P12 at the time of that. We move up into P8 here as we would get a great launch on the restart, second in lane. The 14 on the inside had a terrible restart, kind of like what I had a few restarts ago as we dive down towards turns 1. So all of a sudden, at the time of choosing our lane to start in, we were P12, and we come through turns 1, and out of turns 2, and we get to the outside of the 20 car of our teammate Matt, and we're 3 wide down the back straightaway, and all of a sudden, we go from P12 in that whole scenario to P3 as we dive down into turn 3. And that, like I said, you cannot tell me not that the choose cone is not a game changer now as we come through now on the back of the 24 as we exit turns 4. The caution came out again. Surprise, surprise. So we were P3 at the time of the caution, and once again I choose the outside and move up into P2 here with the 9 of Andrew now as we come through now with only 29 laps to go here in Texas. We had a lot of cautions in this third and final stage. Unfortunately, I didn't see a whole lot of them now as we come through out of turn 2. So we did lose one spot there and drop down to P3, but it was okay because we were able to settle in here and get to the inside of the 24 of combat as we go down the front stretch side by side at the line, trying to get that second position with now just 28 laps to go as we dive down towards turns 1. And sure enough, we will take over P2 and now try to run down Andrew. Now even 4 in that 19 car was able to get to the back of me as well. So it was Andrew, myself, and even 4 running 1, 2, 3 with now just 18 laps to go here in Texas. Now, as I had a pretty bad exit there out of turn 2, I was dealing with some handling issues here and there. That allowed Andrew to open up the gap just a little bit here as we dive down into turns 3, closing up just a tiny bit there through the center of the corner as we just try and rebuild that gap closing now as we come through out of turns 2 on that 151, and we would actually get another caution. So a lot of cautions, like I said, here in the final stage, and obviously I didn't see that one either because it was at the back of the pack, but they would crash again. And once again, of course, for the choose cone rule, no, actually, I'm going to choose the bottom for this one. I decided with 15 laps to go, we need to try and play it a little bit smarter, so I decided to choose the bottom, and thankfully we get a very good launch here just behind Andrew. Karma there on the outside did not get the best launch there as he leads that outside lane as we dive down into turns 1. So now the race is on. Less than 15 laps to go here in Texas. And out of turns 2, I was just kind of caught sleeping there. I saw the opportunity to protect the 19, and instead I just kind of gave it to him, and I regretted that instantly because we go down this back stretch and I see a whole line of cars coming as we dive down towards turn 3. And thankfully, Karma actually had a bit of a mistake or something out of turn 2, so that actually allows me to get back in behind the 19. And then the 19 and the 9, they would come together here on lap 158. 10 laps to go at this point. They make contact, even moves to the lead here as we come through down at this backstretch. Andrew barely slides in there as we dive down towards turn 3. A very close call, but he made it work now. As honestly, if he would have done that a second later, that could have been a complete disaster, but he timed it so well as we come through turns 1 and 2. Then there was contact there between the two leaders, but then we got a caution again. So we would come into the pit lane, and there you see the 19, the 9, and a whole bunch of others, or I should say about 4 others, stayed out, and we would come through in P1 on the pit lane, technically, but we would actually lose a spot to Karma. And so now, coming to the choose cone, this will be the final restart of the race. 7th place is where we are at time of the choose cone. We're going to choose the outside along with our teammate of Matt. I was hoping I was going to be the first one on the outside. Unfortunately, not the case. And then we come through to the final restart of the day. 3 laps to go here in Texas, and I have a terrible launch here on the restart. So right then and there, I'm like, well, I just threw every chance I had to win this race away. Now as we come through turns 1 and turns 2. So even 4 and Andrew running P1 and P2. I think it's going to come down between them as we go down this back straightaway there. As we clear the 48, just about there was contact between Matt and Christian there as we dive down into turn 3. We're going to be almost, I thought we were 3 wide, but no. The 48 settles in behind as we come through out of turns 4. Karma up the inside of RJ. We're going to go to the outside here, make it 3 wide down the front stretch. Jay go crashing on our left-hand side. A big crash behind, but they're side by side in front of us for the lead. All of a sudden, we're right into the mix. Andrew on the bottom, our 19 teammate of even 4 on the top, and we're going to come through and get aggressive here out of turns 2. We get right on that left rear, a little bit of contact made with Andrew as we go down this back straightaway side by side with the Hendrick driver as we go down towards turn 3, coming to the final lap, and all of a sudden, we find ourselves in the lead as we come through out of turns 4. We do clear the 9 car, of course, with the tire advantage. It's all on us at this point here as we come through to start the final lap here in Texas. Andrew and Even, they're still going at each other here for that second spot as we dive down into turns 1. They haven't necessarily gotten along the greatest between the 19, the 9, and the 88 as we come through out of turns 2. Then the 19 and the 88 actually came together out of turns 2. The 88 of Eddie, he goes crashing down the back straightaway now as we dive down into turns 3. For the final time here in Texas, Andrew looks like he's going to get P2 as we come through out of turns 4. Coming down the front straightaway, we have stolen victory here in Texas now to get win number 2 on the season. What a chaotic last restart that was. Obviously, worked out in our favor, and now we have 2 wins on the season. I forgot to show points at the end of this one, but in the next Nitro video, I will show the points, but here is the finishing order. But that will do it for this episode, so I will see you guys, though, in the next one. If you enjoyed, you do know what to do. Hopefully, we can get win number 3 on the season in the next one, so I'll see you guys later. Have a great day, everybody.